Guy, this fan base, they are so thirsty for this type of success. They do not take it for granted, and it's another reason why they have showed out today.
Northern Iowa made the 5 or so hour drive from Cedar Falls. And Ja'Cory Barney's going to let this fly, and Nebraska will start with its offense on the 25-yard line. Turned 19 years old in May. Dylan Raiola was in 8th grade the last time Nebraska was ranked. His numbers through 2 games, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles.
His discernment is one of the biggest elements that's allowing him to have the success, and he's not trying to do too much within this offense. Today, I think we anticipate, they always have a nice opening script. I'd imagine a little quicker tempo today, try to keep him in a rhythm all game long.
Dante Dowdell, he was a battering ram last week. He's the running back behind Raiola, and he takes the first carry of the day, and he punishes a defender after a pickup of about 4.5.
Make no mistake about it, Matt Rule's DNA traits are all about being a physical out at the line of scrimmage. They want to run the football, they want to get a lead, and they want to close this thing out because of the line of scrimmage in the run game.
Raiola will give it to Dowdell again, and he squirts through, and he picks up a first down.
Well, this is an offensive line that has such veterans led by Ben Scott at center. Look at the offensive line. Just pushing, pushing, pushing. That's that offseason program. They know they're going to go as far as they can protect their quarterback and allow them to run the football to set up the play-action game.
No Micah Mazuka at right guard today. Henry Lutovsky getting the start. First throw goes to the tight end, Thomas Fedoni, and he'll bring up a second down and short.
Fedoni is such a talented player at the tight end position. You'll see him go from his right all the way to the left, and he just puts the defensive ends in a bind. Is he going to run block? Is he going to be a lead blocker for a running back, or is he going to come out the back door and catch the ball? To me, the offense through 2 games goes through number 24.
Great to see him out there moving. You see that brace on his twice repaired left knee, but he tells us he's in the best physical shape he's ever been in. Back to the ground. Dowdell slips away from one man and then bursts through another for another Nebraska first down.
Keep an eye on these wideouts. You'll see this one from the back end. Watch at the top of your screen right there. Watch that wide receiver just continue to get after Jamal Banks. This receiving group has been challenged all week to respond from what was a poor performance blocking downfield against Colorado. And through the first few snaps, you're seeing them stick their nose in there, unlike how it was a week ago.
Raiola on first down. Pressure, lofts it, and coming back to get it, Ja'Cory Barney, the true freshman from Florida City, Florida. And they can't wait to get him the ball as much as possible tonight. Pick up a 14.
How about the ball placement over Albert Nunes? See that just right over the top. What you talk about that is getting the ball up and down. Perfect from the young freshman. First big completion of the day.
Another first down. Raiola now to the sideline. Barney again. And that's out of bounds, incomplete.
And they want to get 17 Ja'Cory Barney Jr. in the mix. He can fly, he's got unique ball skills, but I think, when you're a healthy program guy, you've got competitive depth, the guys that practice the best are the guys that are going to play. And they said he has a smile every day when he's practicing. Loves to compete.
Heinrich Harburg is now in the game beside Raiola at running back, wearing number 10 in red, the backup quarterback. Away from him goes the throw, and that's caught by Carter Nelson, the much anticipated freshman, true freshman. Yogi playing in just his 3rd ever 11-man football game.
He does such a nice job of pulling defenders, Harburg, and allowing Raiola to look to the right and come back to the left.
Carter Nelson, if it weren't for Raiola, Nelson would have been the top-ranked prospect in this class. Now Harburg is split out at the top of the screen. Again, that's the backup quarterback for Nebraska. Two tight ends in the game as well. Raiola with time. There's Nelson. He's got it, and he's into the end zone for the first time in his career. Touchdown! Touchdown, Nebraska. So this is something worth watching as well, the point after. Two different snappers today for Nebraska. The kicking game has not been exactly what they want, but this is very good. Aiden Flagey, the snapper on that one. And the kick from Alvano is through. What a moment for Carter Nelson.
What a moment on the route. Thomas Fedoni as well. You'll see him kind of hesitate, and then all of a sudden he gets in the middle of your screen. They call it a jerk route, where you stop, kind of take a picture, and then boom, away you go. Look at that. He goes to his right, puts his foot in the ground, kind of crosses him up like it was a basketball. And one of the most dynamic players, Carter Nelson, the young player, finished it for his first touchdown.
This is automatic, Yogi. This is automatic. Look at this. Third week in a row, the opening script has worked for a touchdown. That's tonight's drive summary, brought to you by American Family Insurance.
We talked to their offensive coordinator, Marcus Satterfield. We talked about the scripting of these plays, and they said we take a lot of pride in the first 10 to 15 plays of the game. These guys practice it, they work on it, they understand all of the answers to different protections, to different pressures. That was pretty flawless in terms of a first drive, and then finding the youngster for a touchdown.
Played 8-man football growing up in Ainsworth, Nebraska. The population 1,600 for Nelson. This is not population 1,600 in this building today. A fair catch on the kick from Brian Buschini, and we'll get our first look at Northern Iowa's offense and Aiden Dunn. The Panthers 2-0, ranked 21st in FCS football. Dunn, a fourth-year junior who only threw 11 passes in his first 3 years. There you see his first 2 games were, like Raiola, he has not thrown an interception.
Yeah, it's traditionally you'd think, okay, it's going to be an air raid offense and spin the ball all over the yard for Aiden Dunn, but it has not been the case throughout the early portion of this season. It's more of a ground raid, if you will. They want to run the football. They know in this game against Nebraska's high-powered offense we just saw in the previous drive, they're going to have to control the clock, slow the game down, and lean on their big back, Ty Edwards.
This team has pounded the rock. Now here comes the noise for the first time in this game, and it's going to be Dunn, who gets to the sideline but is dragged down by that is Deshaun Singleton. This is a defense without Jamari Butler for the game, Yogi, and without Mekhi Bayer for the first half.
And this is a defense that prides itself on its competitive depth, so they're not going to flinch in that regard. Big chance to talk to Ty Robinson, the star up front right now at the bottom of your screen at the defensive end position. He said, these vets, we have made sure that we have set the tone and people have followed.
6 sacks last week for this defense against Colorado. Dunn wants to throw, and he's got a man open. That's Desmond Hudson. And he's got a first down with plenty of yak, the third-year man at Northern Iowa. But we do have a penalty, and here's Jerry Servinsky.
An eligible player downfield. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Illegal man downfield.
Yeah, long time for that play to develop. Offensive line cannot go past 3 yards. You'll watch the offensive line at the top right there. Yep, too far down the field. Easy call by the officials.
3 yards is what you get. So now after a first down play, throwing the ball, it's second down and 12. Of course, FCS teams, when they play FBS teams this year, have the option to use the helmet communications that are new to college football this year. Northern Iowa is not using it, although in this place it may not help anyway. Dunn. There he finds over the middle and open. Going to get some of that yardage back from his tight end, Lane Pryor.
Lane Pryor is one of the key players in this game, especially the passing game. Matt Rule knows they got to slow down the tight end. If aggressive defense. Be curious to see what this defense dials up on the third down.
Amari Pesic-Hickson, the transfer from Kansas, in the game at running back. Flag down. Done under pressure. And he finds Pesic-Hickson a first down out to the 45-yard line. And we'll check on the penalty.
I think it's going to be offsides on Nebraska, just trying to get off
Offside.
on the snap.
Defense number 6. The penalties decline. The result of the play is a first down.
17 yards on that first down conversion.
That's a really nice job. Just kind of getting him out the back door. All day long, we're going to see Dunn on the move. Movement throws are going to be his best friend, especially on the ones that are long and developing. Nice job finding his back on a little flare route. And it's all about, for this Northern Iowa team, just surviving this first quarter in this crowd.
Maybe a little exhale there. Back to Pesic-Hickson, and he's able to slip away from the first man, Cameron Lenhard, who's getting the start today in place of Jamari Butler. Tommy Hill there to finish it off, just a gain of 2.
You know, it was interesting talking to Matt Rule this week about this game. He said, we're facing a traditional Big Ten team. They're going to want to run the football. They got multiple backs that will run the football. Then they'll take their shots down the field. And this linebacking core has taken that personal, as has the front 7. And they know the key to this game for Nebraska is they have to stop the run game.
Almost 300 yards per game in the first 2 for the Panthers offense. Movement and a flag down. Again, Nebraska offsides. This was a problem last week. 12 penalties in the game against Colorado.
Offside. Defense number 48, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's MJ Sherman.
These guys get off so quickly. You see him, he's trying to keep an eye on the ball, and he just knows he jumped a little too soon. And it's hard, right? Because you're anticipating the snap count, you're watching the quarterback, he's clapping, they're trying to draw you off sides, and that is the semantics within the game at the line of scrimmage.
So now second down and 3. Receiver Jaden Ellis-Leahy. Time now for Stay in the Game, presented by Hampton by Hilton. Yogi, what do you see as keys tonight?
Well, I think we just referenced it around Northern Iowa. They got to survive the first quarter. The energy, the excitement, the crowd, the fanfare, etc. And then for Nebraska, look at the bottom one, minimize unforced errors. Those are 2 penalties that are unforced errors. You are giving them and gifting them a first down, or now third and relatively short.
It's a defense that pitched a shutout in the first half last Saturday. And he checks it down to Edwards' back, and he's got a first down across the chains. Deshaun Singleton couldn't get to him in time. A pickup of 4 when they needed 3.
This is really impressive from the quarterback. Watch him right here. He's just got great integrity within this pocket. The pocket is set right there. Watch him just step up in that pocket. His eyes are downfield. He knows where his outlet is. It's to its back. He knows the situation on 3rd and 4. Moves the sticks. I mean, that is big time from your quarterback in this environment.
Coach has told us one of his best qualities, his communication, but we've seen him now in a couple spots make plays too. Tough place to communicate here, but first down. Here comes heat, and Dunn is able to beat it. That ball is held onto by Lane Pryor. Boy, he took a stick from James Williams.
Well, Nebraska decides to bring some pressure. The back picks up the first one right there. You see the back and nobody there for the second player. And how about you, to your point, he did take a stick, a clean hit from Williams. But a nice grab, and I really think a nice job of communicating. You said communicator? They got to talk up front against this 3-3-5 defense. You see 3 guys on the line of scrimmage. Previous snap was 4. The offensive line has to know how to slide and who to slide their protection to.
It's Edwards again. And Edwards with some hard running, and he's out near and past another first down. Pick up a 9 yards.
This is a physical group, right? They bring a little bit of pressure, trying to crash down. There's Williams. See how he goes with that left shoulder guy? You want to go with your right shoulder and stay square so you have an opportunity to make the play. He goes with the wrong shoulder, tries to spill it to Bullock. Bullock misses the tackle, and they're moving the sticks again. Tell you, if I'm Tony White right now, I'm bringing some pressure. I am bringing Isaac Gifford down into the box, force them to take shots down the field, play some man-to-man coverage. It looks like that's what this snap is.
That was Lane Pryor, the tight end, who threw that big block. Now 1st and 10. Pesic Hickson back in, and he's got plenty of space to pick up 8 yards, maybe 9. Well, this is a program that's had so much historic success, right? Mark Farley, the 2nd winningest active FCS coach at that level. He's spent almost his entire career both as a player and then as a coach at UNI. He started as a linebacker coach and the strength and conditioning coach, and his program reflects his background.
He said, look, where does culture begin and end? In the weight room, in the offseason. These guys are tough. Majority are bred within their home states. They are not intimidated by this environment after talking to a few of the players this week, and this drive is reflecting that.
Over 6 minutes already, Yogi. 2nd down and 1, and he may have taken a timeout. Play clock was low.
To the play clock expiring. Timeout. Northern Iowa.
That's their first.
The half.
Nebraska marched right down the field. Northern Iowa's marching on its own. Nebraska took the ball to start the game, drove down the field, and scored a touchdown. Northern Iowa has had the ball for over 6 minutes. Let's take a look at tonight's Impact Players, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance.
Well, everybody at Nebraska knows you got to stop Ty Edwards. He's 6'4", 230 at running back, and that falls on number 9, Ty Robinson. And I think down here in the fringe red zone, also Isaac Gifford. Remember, in this defense, a 3-3-5 Nebraska-style defense, that rover position by number 2, Gifford, he can be down in the box in the run game. He can play the pass. I think he's going to fill in the run right here in the middle of the screen.
After the timeout from Northern Iowa, it's 2nd down and short. Pressure coming, and Pesic Hickson gets twisted down and stopped. You just called it out. Isaac Gifford, and there he is to make a play.
This is the challenge of the defense. You see him, he just creeping as the play unfolds. Now all of a sudden he looks like he's a linebacker. And guy, that's the real challenge of this defense, because there's times where he'll creep like that and then punch out and play the pass. And that is where this offensive line, really on the quarterback and the center, Keon Camerling, have to truly communicate. And this is a perfect example against now a 4-down front.
3rd down and 2. You wonder, Yogi, is this 4-down territory? Movement up front. Pesic Hickson. And he is right at the stick. The mark looks like he's short. Let's see where they put this ball.
It's got to be close. Good job by the offensive line in the initial push, but who's in there? Right there, number 2. Again, that rover position, Isaac Gifford. He stands him up. It looks a little short from this angle, and if it's me, I'm going for it. I mean, this is UNI on the road. You have moved the line of scrimmage. You got to get 6 inches. You talked about the head coach and his background as a strength and conditioning coach. This is exactly that. This is that moment for this offensive line and this team on the road. So I'm going for it all day.
This would be a 38-yard field goal from here, which probably is a little out of Caden Palmer's range, so maybe that makes it an easier decision. But there you see, maybe a foot.
This thing has been built on physicality since Mark Farley walked on and then took over as the head coach, and it continues to be a team led by the ground game. Let it rip, man. And on the other side, if you're looking at that man right there, number 9, Ty Robinson, 6th-year senior, he's saying, okay, bring it on, run it right at me.
4th down and a foot. See what Joel Fulani, the offensive coordinator for Northern Iowa, has here. Ty Edwards is back in the game at running back.
That formation.
It's big. It's done. The quarterback, and he's got the first down by a couple of yards.
Look at this formation. Look at all these guys to the right side of this offensive line. Any guess where they're running it? They told Nebraska, we're going that way. Ty Robinson and company, Nash Huttenmaker, they thought it was going to the back. They tackled Ty Edwards, and there goes Aiden Dunn. Really impressive call there from Joel Fulani.
Aiden Dunn had the first carry of the game, and he has that one to take this drive over 8 minutes now for Northern Iowa.
Look at Gifford, how close he is.
Back to Edwards. And he's got about 4 yards. You're looking at how close Isaac Gifford is to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, the origin of this defense goes back over 20 years to Rocky Baum, who coached this defense at so many different places, recruited and coached defensive coordinator Tony White, taught him, he's trained in it. It's got different wrinkles now, but it allows that position. We'll see where Isaac Gifford lines up on this snap, but he's got the freedom and flexibility to fit in the run game. And the whole goal is for everybody on defense to be able to play downhill.
Survive the first 5 minutes. That's what Mark Farley told us he wanted out of his team. Can they capitalize now in the red zone? Aiden Dunn gets tracked down by Gifford after a healthy pickup, and it'll be 3rd down. And about 5, let's see.
You think they're running a little bit of option, speed option? He says, no, I'm just keeping it myself. The left side of this offensive line has done a nice job setting an edge. No surprise, Jared Penning, the left tackle. Of course, the brother of Trevor, who was a first-round pick a couple years ago by the Saints. But if I'm on offense right now, keep an eye on number 45, Lane Pryor, the tight end.
15th play of the drive coming up.
There he is, guy. That's your tight end, flexed out. They love this matchup in the red zone.
And now whistles, and Mark Farley is going to use his second timeout. What does that tell you about how important this coach thinks this drive is?
Team timeout.
This is a moment,
Northern Iowa.
and this is a scene right now in this ball game. We'll be back with more.
Full media timeout.
81 degrees with a perfect breeze here in Lincoln right now. 1:40 to go in the first quarter. A 3rd down and about 5 coming up for Northern Iowa. They've had a 10-minute drive going, Yogi. Before they took the timeout, they spread everybody out. What do you think they should do down here?
Well, I'd have a back in the backfield just for the threat of run. I think they'll do that here just to try to keep this defense honest. See if they can confuse him with a little misdirection.
Now a big shift, and so the running back, Pesic Hickson,
QB draw,
goes out of the backfield. Dunn, pressure, cuts it loose, end zone, broken up. Marquise Buford was there to make the play. John Bullock is the one that brought the heat. Now it's 4th down.
This is clinic worthy from Buford. See how he turns his head at the last second? If he doesn't turn his head, that's going to be pass interference. But because he turns his head and then knocks the ball down, there is no flag, even though there's a little bit of contact. They only rushed with 4, but boy, does Bullock come with some heat off the edge. Well thrown ball, better defended on the back end from Buford.
Pressure field goal here for Caden Palmer. Made his first 20-yard field goal last week, and he caps off this 10-plus minute drive. 16 plays for Northern Iowa, and they get 3. Football on the Big Ten Network is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. And by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Game day here in Lincoln, the third week in a row. Nebraska at home to open up the season. And that means these fans have had to bring it and then bring it again.
The team's going to have to do it as well, because clearly UNI has shown up to play after that drive.
Northern Iowa, 10+ minute drive, 16 plays, resulted in a field goal. And now Cade Palmer will kick it away. Ja'Cory Barney will let it go. And we'll get our second look at the freshman quarterback, Dylan Raiola, playing in front of the 399 straight sellout here in Lincoln. Let's take a look at tonight's Impact Player, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance when Nebraska has the ball.
Well, Dante Dowdell, we've already felt his presence, and then Thomas Fedoni. I think the offense runs through him. And defensively, Tucker Langenberg, this is a guy who loves these moments. He's a dynamic player for this linebacking group. They've got to stop the run.
Dylan Raiola been sitting around for a long time waiting for another chance, and he overshoots Fedoni, and we've got a flag.
I think it's going to be a PI, and they're going to say he was held. As he made that break on the post, it looked like his arm was grabbed and he couldn't get it up to try to make the catch.
Pass interference. Defense number 8. 15-yard penalty in the previous spot, includes an automatic first down.
Yeah, it's that right arm. He can't get it up. And officials are always looking to see is the possible catch impeded. Yeah, kind of holds his hand there, grabs him on the glove.
6'6", Fedoni. We couldn't get to that. Now out of the backfield, here's Emmett Johnson. His first touch of the day is a reception, which he dances forward with for a first down. Let's check in with Ashley Adamson for a Big Ten Network studio update.
Guy, it appears Indiana was ready for its first trip to the Rose Bowl in half a century. First 2 possessions against UCLA, 2 touchdowns. Curtis Rourke to Keyshawn Williams, up 14-0 on the road.
How about that? That Indiana red looks good under that Southern California sun, doesn't it, Yokes? There's Robinson with another nice move to pick up a couple more. That previous game was 17 yards.
A lot of fan bases in this new look league are looking forward to checking out the Rose Bowl. Curious what the vibe is there and how UCLA can possibly respond. And now for this offense for Nebraska, it's about responding, because they were sitting on the bench for quite some time.
Emmett Johnson, this has been his drive. The coaches told us, Yogi, he earned some more playing time with his performance last week. Another tough run for him, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 1 with the first quarter clock ticking low.
Let's see what they do here. They bring a fullback in, and I got to imagine allow this one just to tick, tick, tick away.
There have been, hold on, let me count. 1, 2 full possessions
That was the end of the first quarter.
Not what you expected, but Nebraska's driving again after 1. As we start the second quarter, let's go down to the field. Rhett Lewis with Matt Rule moments ago.
All right, Coach, 3rd straight game, you get a score on your opening possession on offense, but defense on the field for a long time, although they're able to force the field goal. What's your message to your team right now?
Oh, keep playing. These guys aren't afraid of us, so this is a real team. Defensive, they don't want to be on the field. They got to make it some stops on 3rd down. I think we were 3 for 3 on 3rd down, or 3 for 4, and they had the explosive play, so this is what we need. We need to play against a good team that's tough, like Coach Farley's team.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
3rd down for Nebraska's offense, and it's Dylan Raiola keeping it for a conversion.
You're thinking this is 100% going to be some sort of dive, tight splits, tight ends, everybody jammed in there. Nope, let me just pull that one and showcase my athleticism as the true freshman. Easy first down. And you know, the big lesson for him is when you're sitting for so long, you've got to keep your focus alive, especially at home in front of this crowd. You can't be lulled to sleep. He's done a pretty magnificent job thus far on this drive in his decision making.
So calm last week, too, right? Head-to-head with Shedeur Sanders. Everybody was locked in on that game. He swings that to Ja'Cory Barney, and Barney's able to get about 5. Everybody else in there to help him. You know, we talked so much about Dylan Raiola. Rhett, you talked to so many people about Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, including his dad, Dominic Raiola, of course, a Husker legend here at center and an NFL vet. And, you know, Dylan has all these great pro connections, right? But he goes through full days of prep here at the facility, then goes home where they kind of created a makeshift film room with a whiteboard for him, and he'll go through a couple hours at home as well. His preparation is maniacal.
Second down, and he gives it off here to Dowdell. Yeah, we're seeing pregame here, Rhett, and there's hugs with the family. Dad, his sister, Taylor, a grad manager, was a volleyball player at TCU. His mom, Yvonne, a water polo player at Hawaii. Of course, his dad, an All-American center here, 14 years in the NFL with the Lions. So they got the system down. They know how to compete.
Well, they also know that reality is he's still developing and growing. I had a chance to talk to both of his parents on the field in pregame.
Raiola over the middle, there, touchdown, Huskers. They're not playing the time of possession game.
They're running their offense with tremendous efficiency. I think when things are moving a little quicker for that young quarterback, he can find a rhythm even faster.
Isaiah Nayer, one of the veterans on this offense, the transfer from Wyoming, then by way of Texas. The second touchdown of the year.
You know, we talked to his parents, this young freshman. They said, we know that he's really talented, but we want to make sure he's having a good time, enjoying himself. And when you're looking to your left and coming back for the second read of your progression for a touchdown, I'd say that's a pretty good time to that new wideout in Isaiah Nayer. And there's your freshman fired up at home.
If you're looking for the Northwestern Eastern Illinois game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find the game in your area. A quick scoring drive for Nebraska. The Moon heard what happened here last week and said, I gotta get to Lincoln early.
Well,
defense coming back out.
Yeah, and this black shirt defense is real. Ever since Matt Rule got here, just look at what it's done this season. You look what it's done when you combine majority of last year to this year, and there is a commonality, right? This place expects big-time defense with the black shirts. Same deal for Matt Rule. Everywhere he has been, they've been a top 10 defense, a variety of different categories, whether it was at Temple, Baylor, Carolina Panthers in the NFL, and now here at Nebraska. That is a non-negotiable element for every one of his teams that he's been the head coach of.
Second time on the field for the defense. A field goal on the first possession for Northern Iowa on a 10-plus minute drive. And this does not start the way they want. You know, it was funny talking to Tony White, the defensive coordinator. He said, we've got these headset communications, of course, like everybody does. We got to get on the road to find out if we can hear each other, because right now this defense is using only hand signals because they've only been at home, and when the defense is on the field at home, Yogi, it's loud. Aiden Dunn, the quarterback, as Pesic Hickson goes out of the backfield. Dunn steps up. And he picks up 4. It'll be third down and long.
You know, the point of those signals, I thought with the headset communication this year, we no longer see teams have these flags on the sidelines to protect the coaches' booths from stealing the signal. See it right there at the bottom. The bottom of the screen there, those ends right there, they're blocking the signalers. So signaling has not gone away due to helmet communication like I think a lot of us anticipated, at least for the defense at home.
Third down and 7. Northern Iowa was good on third down on its first possession. Dunn, to Jaden Ellis-Leahy. The coaches told us this guy might be able to make an impact in this game.
Not only did he make an impact, but how about Aiden Dunn sitting in the pocket, guy? There is pressure in his lap. He throws right into it, and he finds his wide out, finally making an impact in this relative air raid offense. They still have those concepts. That's a nice little seam concept, comes right back to the ball, perfectly thrown against pressure.
First down and 10 near midfield. Ty Edwards doesn't take the handoff. It's Dunn with his tight end blocking in front. A flag comes in. Dunn gets the first down, but we'll check on the penalty.
That might be a hold on 21, Sergio Moranci. And that was an awesome play design, right? Little zone read, keeper, he's got a lead blocker.
Holding. Offense number 21. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Yeah, he split out wide. You see at the bottom of your screen. And it'll show right up there. And look, they're both kind of grabbing each other, but as a wideout guy, you got to know when you feel that DB pulling on you, you've got to let go, especially when you know the design of the play. And the only reason the DB is pushing and pulling from you is because he sees the ball coming his way. So that is a missed assignment in a big way for the senior captain, Moranci.
What's funny about it, the penalty occurred past the line to gain, and it's a spot foul. So it's 1st and 9. They didn't get the yardage, but they didn't lose the down. Here's Dunn again, and this time he gets pulled down by Tommy Hill. We had a huge game last week, of course, the big pick 6 and a big tackle here.
He's a big physical corner, sees the motion, nice job of tracking the motion, trying to get in the hip pocket of it. That's an automatic read from the corner. His guy goes in motion, you're playing zone coverage, nothing there, go blitz. And this guy's been lights out. I can remember he was a freshman at Arizona State, comes here, ups and downs. He's playing the best football of his life.
Second and 9. Pressure, and that disrupts the throw. A flag comes in late. Kay Wallen was the man who applied the big hit as Dunn was letting it go. Dunn is doubled over trying to catch his breath. And you can see that this penalty's going against Northern Iowa.
I think it's going to be OPI. Offensive pass interference. Yeah, they're talking to Coach Rule. What his decision?
He said move it back 15. You can read his lips.
Offensive pass interference. Offense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. It is second down.
So instead of a 3rd down and 9, he's going to make it 2nd and 24.
And this is a tough spot for the play caller, right? Not a lot of great calls on the call sheet, but you also want to think about the bigger picture, which is you want the clock to keep running. You want to run the football. You found pockets. I try to work the passing game in between the hashes down the seam. You had a little success, especially with the tight end.
Aiden Dunn, he throws. That's complete. Receiver screen to Hudson, and he's able to stay on his feet, and he gets back across the 45, and it'll bring up 4th down. Pardon me, it'll bring up 3rd down, and that's exactly where they put this, about 5.
A really nice block out on the perimeter from this receiving core, Ellis-Leahy, and look at this. Desmond Hudson just kind of does the rest. Physical runner, and you're right. I mean, Coach Rule said it to Rhett Lewis in between the quarters. This team has come to play, and on 3rd down, I'd keep an eye on number 45 at the bottom of the screen, the tight end, Lane Pryor.
They back out of pressure, and batting it away is the big tree trunk of an arm from Ty Robinson.
That was a really good play call against pressure. They want to run the inside screen. And the sixth-year senior says, yeah, been there, done that, times it up beautifully. And you see him on the sideline right there against to his coach, a handshake to Jack Potenza instead of the old chest bump that we saw a week ago. Nice job by them, correcting that potential error from a week ago where we thankfully didn't have potential injury.
Yeah, Jack Potenza doesn't want to go viral again. So here's a punt to Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. He'll let that bounce away. Last week, after a big field goal block, Ty Robinson went flying into the air and knocked his coach on his back. So they decided to modify the celebration to Potenza's joy.
Timeout on the field.
This was last week against Colorado. Ty Robinson in a big moment comes running off the field and sends his coach into next week. That's Jack Potenza, the outside linebacker coach, and he heard about it. That did not go unnoticed around the facility. So they decided, let's change it up. This week, a handshake. Amazing.
A true vet, right?
Yes, that's an adjustment.
Correctable, yeah, there you go.
Third possession for Nebraska's offense, and a short gain there for Gabe Irvin. Rhett, you had a chance. We caught up with the Jack Potenza before the game. What'd you think of what he had to say about that?
Yeah, guys, I'd say the effort on that Robinson celebration was a little plus, right? A little bit extra, but the effort has been under the examination of Coach Potenza here with his talented group of outside linebackers. As you saw, MJ Sherman was right there with Robinson on that screen deflection. They've been coaching up effort, studying it. They feel like they've pointed out a few guys in the NFL that have made a living with that effort, like Khalil Mack. 12 of his 17 sacks last year were effort-based, so they're coaching that into these players on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that's a 12-yard pickup. It was so interesting, Rhett. What he's saying, right, is like Potenza did a study, and he told his guys, even the best players, most of their sacks come because of effort.
Well, so much about this program is around one phrase, which is chasing three. You look at the 3-point losses they had a year ago, whether it was an effort play, an effort sack, a batted ball, so many little moments. This whole team has taken that to heart, led by their sixth-year senior, Ty Robinson.
Pressure coming, and Raiola avoids it. And now he uncorks, wide open, and it's caught by Jalen Lloyd. Lloyd cuts it back, and he gets down into the red zone. You can get to Raiola, but can you tackle Raiola?
And I don't think you can confuse Raiola, right? This is a deep play action. He feels the pressure, but look at his head. His eyes are always downfield. He knows where the displacement of his wide receivers are going, knows exactly where he's going to end up, and drops an absolute dime to Lloyd all the way down the field. How about the balance? Keeping his feet, coming back in the scramble drill. Big explosive play.
59-yard pickup. Ramir Johnson in the game at running back. This is a flip to Ja'Cory Barney. He waits for his block, and he steps in for the touchdown. Matt Rule told us of the young man Barney. He's from Miami, and Florida kids play football like they're at recess. And Ja'Cory Barney, he takes a big hit at the end of that play. He pops up with a smile on his face. I think these scoring drives are getting shorter for Nebraska. All right, let's watch the operation again. The walk-on Aiden Flagey on for the snap. Perfect out of the hold of Bushini. So far, that part of the Nebraska operation has been cleaned up.
And this is impressive, a little backyard football element. Watch on the toss, he gets the ball, and then he's just gonna wait. He's gonna wait for his lead blocker, Nate Borkature, the tight end, to get out in front of him. Does a beautiful job, and you're right, Guy. This feels like a little playground ball, little backyard ball, and definitely a smile for the freshman from Florida City. There you go, man, congrats.
These first three drives for Nebraska's offense. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And the play number's gotten lower. 8, then 7, then 4. And see Dylan Raiola's numbers there at the bottom. Just 1 incompletion. 170 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That was the Big Ten Tournament Championship baseball team. They're getting honored here during the timeout. And this is another touchback. And let's take a look at tonight's coach profile, brought to you by Discover.
Well, look, there is a blueprint when you hire Matt Rule. Everywhere he has gone, he has gotten better. Usually it takes 3 years. Not this year for this team, at least in our eyes when you're looking at it. And I think it's a big part of this team being veterans. But at Temple and at Baylor, he said he had to play a lot of the young guys, just roll with a bunch of the freshmen and sophomores to build the culture, build the program. Here, you've got so many veterans, and a lot of them came back because of that stat right there. 4 losses by 3 points last year. That is why the moniker Chasing 3 is all over their doc series on the internet and the facility and the tunnel walk. This team is mission-minded.
1-5 in 1-score games to go with that 0-4 in 3-score games. And a healthy run there for Northern Iowa. Pickup of 7 yards from Amari Pesic-Hickson. Yogi, of those 4 games that were lost by a field goal, 3 of them were 13-10. Can you imagine this offense scoring 10 points this year?
No, I cannot, and especially when you even look at their schedule and how this thing is developing and some of the new playmakers. I mean, the 3 guys that have scored tonight, they're scoring for the first time, or they're new faces to this program as freshmen or as transfers.
Ty Edwards churns forward for a first down. Let's take a look at tonight's big stat, brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Old is good.
Yeah, I think it really is, especially when you're looking at the expanded playoff, right? The 2 teams that played for the championship a year ago, their defense, look at their average years old, and they also were a bunch of 5th and 6th year seniors. Same thing here for Nebraska. So many vets that have played so much football, now back-to-back years in this scheme, and they know what they left on the table. And Guy, I'm not saying they're going to the Natty right now, but I think this defense, they have a high expectation, a high standard of how to play every time they hit the field.
Old is also relative. Here's Dunn. He's just going to tuck it and pick up a first down. No, he stepped out a yard shy, but he'll bring up 2nd down and short.
I just think the age thing and the veteran element of it, it helps you on a Tuesday practice. I mean, everybody on this defense, I felt like said the quote that we practice like the worst defense in the nation all week long. Like, they know you got to bring your hard hat to work. They know the standard of the black shirts, and when you're given one of those jerseys on the practice field, and look, when the whole nation's talking about you like they have been all week long, it's easy to have a little bit of a lull. I think this team, led by one of those vets, Isaac Gifford, say, no, not this year.
2nd down and 1. Here's Edwards. Edwards dances, and he's got the first down. Nice block there from Josh Volk. And as they move the chains, let's go down to Rhett.
Yeah, guys, you're talking about the veteran leadership here, and I think that, of course, comes from the direction of Coach Matt Rule. And, you know, this team and this defense and this effort is built through fall camp, and it's built each week in practice where they'll get physical and they'll put pads on and hit all the way up until Thursday. I was talking to a former All-American linebacker, Jay Foreman, and he was like, yeah, that stands out in a big way. It feels like football is real and back here when you watch these guys at practice.
It's funny, right? Matt Rule told us he wants his players that have buddies at other schools to hear from those buddies that Nebraska does stuff that they don't do. There's a nicely timed throw to Derek Anderson. His 2nd career catch comes in a big spot to pick up a 14.
Yeah, he's a traditional blocker, but you'll see him go from right all the way to left right there, number 88. And I'll tell you what, Dunn is doing a nice job. When he sees pressure and he knows they can't protect it, as a quarterback guy, you're taught to retreat, buy a little time. He allowed that window, which was massive, to open up on that over route, delivered for a first down. And for Northern Iowa, as we tick under 4 minutes, they want the ball for the rest of this 2nd quarter.
Well, we know what Nebraska's done at the end of the first half so far. In 2 weeks, they've scored touchdowns before the break, both games. Here's Pesic-Hickson, dances away, flag comes in, stays on his feet, and finally the 4th man in, Vincent Shavers, is able to make the stop and pick up a 1.
We're going to get a hold and bring it back, though. There's so much movement, and that's the challenge when you're playing against this 3-3-5 defense guy, is you don't know where guys are coming from.
Holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Keon Kemmerling, the center.
Yeah, so just watch this entire defensive line as the play unfolds. I mean, there's going to come from so many different areas, and you don't know how to block, where to block, who to communicate to, and this time they end up bringing more than 4, and those angles within this 3-3-5 Nebraska defense, that's what makes it so challenging. When you're taking angles and coming vertically up the field, and then linebackers coming right behind you with speed and power, big impact on those offensive linemen.
1st and 20. Play clock is low. Dunn swings it out to Pesic Hickson, and he gets tripped up by Tommy Hill.
Now remember, you do get the 2-minute timeout here. So be curious to see how Nebraska utilizes their timeouts here. And of course for Northern Iowa, they are going to try to milk this clock as long as possible. We're going to have to run a play here.
Farley used 2 of his timeouts on the opening drive. It was a long drive that eventually ended in a field goal. Nebraska's not given up points since then. Pesic Hickson, he's patient, and he's able to slip through down to the 40, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 4 as we hit the 2-minute timeout.
That is the 2-minute.
Dylan Raiola and Nebraska's offense has been on fire, and Northern Iowa's trying to respond here at the end of the 2nd quarter. Next Saturday, Big Ten Tailgate heads to the home of the Sailgate as Mike Hall and Tyvis Powell are on Washington's campus to get you ready for football. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. You been on a sailboat at 7 a.m., Yogi, in Seattle? I know you have.
Sure have. Always a good time.
3rd down and 14 here, 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Aiden Dunn's been spreading the ball around, and he throws complete and over the middle to Sergio Morency, and he gets down to about the 31, so it'll be 4th down and 5.5. You think about going for this?
Yeah, you're 100% going for this because it's out of field goal range.
Nebraska, their first of the half, 30-second timeout.
Fourth down and 5 after Nebraska took the timeout. Fumbled snap, and Nebraska's going to take over at the 35-yard line.
Wow, and that's the first big mistake from Aiden Dunn. I think he just takes his eye off the snap guy because there is an overload to his left, and pressure is coming into his lap. John Bullock leading the way. Yeah, look at that, man. Just doesn't see it coming. It's just not on the same page with the center. He's looking at the coverage. The center must anticipate like he heard the snap count or heard the clap. Snap comes early. Huge missed opportunity.
And now, Yogi, this is where Nebraska's made hay in the first 2 weeks, in the 2-minute offense. Ramir Johnson weaving his way up the sideline near midfield.
And this is great practice for this team, and they've done it a few times already this season, right? 2-minute drill. This is where they are at their best outside of the first drive of the game. And for Dylan Raiola, he's got his menu of plays that he absolutely loves in this type of situation.
Raiola, pressure picked up, steps up to the sideline, right on the money for Isaiah Nair.
Now that is pitch and catch. Simple corner route. He's got one hitch, puts it on the boundary. Perfect location, both feet are in. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to leave these receivers with a cushion, Raiola's going to pick you apart.
And Northern Iowa is going to use its last timeout.
3rd and final. charge, team timeout.
Nebraska trying to
Northern
score
Iowa.
before the half. We're
30
back at
seconds.
30. Coming up, stick around for the DirecTV halftime report. Dave, Ashley, and Marcel will take you through the first half highlights and get you up to speed on a busy Saturday across the Big Ten. That's coming up next on the DirecTV halftime report.
I mean, how about that shot with the moon? If I'm those two guys, I am screen grabbing that, and blowing it up and putting it in my man cave when I watch Nebraska football on the road.
After the timeout, Raiola gets it inside to Janiron Bonner. So 2 timeouts, Yogi. Clock ticking down towards a minute 10 and a second down and 5 here near the red zone. No rush. Ramir Johnson spins away, but then is pulled down by Fletcher Marshall, the transfer from East Carolina, and we're under a minute.
Really nice tackle there from Fletcher Marshall. Great eye discipline there on the edge. But I think, again, for this offense right now, you got to stay calm, keep your personnel groupings in, force this defense to make calls based on your formation.
3rd and 3. Raiola, back shoulder, and that breaks a streak of 11 straight completions.
I like the concept here. I think if the ball's up a little bit, there might be a DPI here because the DB, Marshall, never turns back to see the ball. You want to give your guy a shot, and yeah, Raiola knows missed opportunity there. Put a little bit more air on that ball next.
Line it up on 4th and 3.
Second charge, team timeout.
They are in
Nebraska.
field goal range.
30 seconds.
We'll see what Matt Rule decides to do here after using his second timeout. 4th down and 3. It would be a 42-yard field goal from here. Next Saturday, your way. First, Indiana faces Charlotte, and Maryland hosts Villanova. Then, 8th-ranked Penn State collides with Kent State. Coverage begins with Big Ten Tailgate at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. So 4th down and 3, Yogi. Offense staying on the field.
You know, Guy, I would look to Mr. Dependable, Thomas Fidone at tight end, bottom of the screen. In the slot right there.
Looking that way. Raiola from his back foot, and he throws behind an incomplete Bonner. And Northern Iowa does something that the first 2 defenses that Nebraska played this year didn't do, and that's get a stop before the half.
Yeah, and this offense is going to want it back because Fidone to the left is wide open. He looks right there. Not sure why he didn't just go there. So it's simple out route. You're moving the sticks. Decides to go backside. Never sets his feet, and the ball is behind his wide out. Little whip route again. It's hard to throw that guy when you're on the move. He knows it. That's 2 he wishes he had back. But those are the experiences, right? I mean, this is still a freshman, only his 3rd game. Here we go with another 2-minute drill against a different type of defense that he saw in the first 2 weeks. And you got to give this Northern Iowa team credit. Big stop for them, and they get the ball coming out of the half.
So they, with no timeouts, won't mess around here. They did win that opening coin toss and deferred. So as you said, Yogi, their offense, which is trying to play some ball control, got a little help from the defense here at the end. And Nebraska's offense looked like it couldn't be stopped, and did on that final drive. Rhett is with Matt Rule. Rhett?
There's 3 possessions, but comes up short there late. What'd you see from that side of the ball?
Well, we only had 3 possessions, but really 4 is the problem, right?
That is
So
the end
they're doing a good job of shortening
of
the
the first
game.
half.
We've been explosive. We had a chance there to go down and score. You know, we got to make that play on 4th and 3. But I like the way that they're playing, and they're doing a good job. They have a good game plan against us tonight.
Coach, defense has been on the field a lot, but they've only allowed 3 points. What do you want to see for
Defense averaged 136 per game last year. 136 per game, and he just threw for 209.
And I think most importantly, he's not giving the ball away. And when you see a lot of games like this through the first 3 weeks of the season, when we've had upsets in college football, it's because of sloppy play, turnovers, etc. This Nebraska defense, they need to stop the run here, though, in the second half.
Sergio Morency is going to bring this out for Northern Iowa. And good starting field position for Northern Iowa. Rhett just talked to the Panthers head coach, Mark Farley, coming out of the locker room. What did he tell you, Rhett?
Well, guys, very upset at the way his defense has blown some coverages and blown some calls up front that have contributed to some of those big plays for that Dylan Raiola-led Nebraska offense. On the offensive side of the ball, he loves the plan. He loves what's happening on the offensive side of the ball. They got to limit the penalties, which has negated a couple of their own big plays, and he anticipates Nebraska coming out agitated because, as he said, they now know we can run it down their throat.
You agree with that?
1,000%. What did Matt Rule tell Rhett prior to the half? Missed too many tackles. They're the more physical team right now. See if this defense took it personal.
Aiden Dunn's going to give it to Amari Pesic-Hickson to start this half, and John Bullock takes at least that play personal with a tackle.
Well, look, when your backs are against the wall, you haven't played great, your seniors or veterans have to show up. John Bullock, this looks like a good run because they get to the edge. Bullock unblocked as the linebacker, again, in this 3-3-5 defensive scheme, finds a way. Maybe that left tackle gets away with a little bit of a hold there, too, on the edge. But overall, this UNI offense, they're going to keep going to the well, man, I think, in the run game.
Mekhi Bayer is eligible to return to action in this second half after serving a one-half dismissal after the targeting last week against Colorado, so we'll see if we see him. Stephon Thompson started in his place, and a reminder, Jamari Butler not playing today for Matt Rule's defense. Hopefully for them, they'll have him back next Friday night against Illinois here.
I'll tell you what, that is the loss that I felt in the first half. And you watch their previous games this season, and then the first half, the way this UNI team has gotten to the edge, usually that's where Butler has made his impact felt.
Third down and 6. And now Northern Iowa will use a timeout. The play clock was very low.
Timeout.
I'll say this, Yogi, right? There's some question, how does a program in their position come into this environment?
Full immediate timeout.
They haven't flinched. They believe they can move the rock. See how they do on third down. We come on back.
Thank you to all those people across the state who have sent letters, and I know the prayers are there. I can feel them. I can't see them, but I can tell they're there. And they're there pulling for me, and that means a lot.
That's Greg Sharp, the longtime voice of Nebraska football, nearly 20 years. He's been battling cancer for 6 months, a legendary broadcaster and an even more legendary person. And it's so great to see him here in Lincoln at Memorial Stadium. A third down here for Northern Iowa, and Aiden Dunn is going to pick it up. The question is, where did he start this slide? They are giving him the first down. That's where they're marking it. But we'll check on where they spot this. The ball gets spotted where he begins his slide, Yogi. Ooh!
Yeah, that's close. I think it's going to be a good call for the first down as they made it right there at the sticks.
Just to finish that thought on Greg Sharp, I had a chance to talk to him before the game. He came into our booth to say hello, which is just wonderful. You know, so many people are rooting for him and thinking about him. His battle continues, but hopefully he feels the love from all of us here at the Big Ten Network and people watching all around the country who know what he is going through. And I know it means a lot to Nebraska to have him here back in time for football season. So
yeah, it's been beautiful, you know, coming to this stadium for the first time as a broadcaster and being around legends like him and knowing that this entire sea of red is supporting him. As he referenced, he can feel it in every layer of his soul and just rooting for him on every level. And just got to feel that competitive spirit that this place is known for. It's also within him.
Second down and 3. Here for Northern Iowa, trying to score coming out of the locker room.
Bayer's in.
He comes on pressure. And it's Edwards who's able to bounce it outside and finally gets tracked down from behind by James Williams. A pickup of 7 yards.
See, reference Mackay Bayer. He's going to bring pressure. He's right there on the inside, and he's going to try to cross the face of the guard. He gets inside there, and it just opens up a lane. Not just one blocker, but 2 lead blockers there for Edwards, and a nice job of creating an angle. Right, we're watching Nebraska in the second half, Guy. They clearly want to stop the run, right? That was modus operandi, I'm sure, from Matt Rule at halftime, but they have been a little too aggressive on some of these pressures. UNI's made them pay.
Six straight runs to start this second half, and that one not getting far. John Bullock is there along with Keanu Davis.
Isn't there something great about this game? You see a fullback at times. We've seen unbalanced. We've seen some old school stuff between these two schools. And for that head coach, Mark Farley, I mean, that is how he rides. He wants it to be a physical out. It is built in the weight room. It is built in all of his DNA traits.
So second down at about 9. Amori Pesek-Hexon is in the game now, running back. They're going to run it again? Yes, they will. Pesek-Hexon is able to break a couple tackles and set up a third down. And a flag comes in here out near the sideline.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Defense number 97. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul into the run. Correction, from the end of the run, includes an automatic first down.
Yeah, see Davis, see at the end, it's hard because he's left his feet, but they're looking to see, are you continually pulling down? Are you continually extending your arms? I mean, it's nearly impossible when you're that big to let go, but you're so far, not just off the field, but off the white, that you got to throw that flat.
5 yards on the run, 15 on the penalty, so a 20-yard play for the Panthers. Pressure coming. Dunn throws off his back foot. Defender fell down, and it is incomplete. Well, Rhett, down on the sidelines, you talked to somebody who knows Mark Farley, the head coach at UNI, very well this week.
That's right. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, who played for Northern Iowa when Coach Farley was on the staff back in the 90s. And I asked Kurt for one word to describe Coach Farley. He said intensity. We talked to Coach Farley about that as well. He said, yeah, that's what this program is all about. Guys, I think you see it on the offensive line where they return all 5 starters from a year ago, including Jarrett Penning, who has NFL potential. And by the way, from Nebraska's perspective, Yogi, what did Coach Rule tell his team about NFL scouts watching this game?
He said they're going to watch this one to see how you do up against this team and this roster.
Second down, Dunn intercepted. Malcolm Hartzog is second of the year. And that brings the Panthers to a screeching halt.
And this is one that Aiden Dunn wants back because Sergio Moranci is wide open. He just misses on the throw. And if you miss in this stadium against this defense, they make you pay. Hartzog with the pick, a little celebration. And we got a good time down there on the sideline tonight.
Motion toward the line of scrimmage. Fake the handoff, roll the pocket to the near side. Looking downfield as a man open downfield, but shoots it too high. And it's picked off. Intercepted Malcolm Hartzog. 10 up to the 14-yard line as Malcolm Hartzog out of the 19 as he goes and start the mashed potatoes dance. Huskers get a pick.
Great to hear Greg Sharp on the Husker Radio Network moments ago.
I love the mashed potatoes dance. Because there is a debate among, like, potatoes, but who's got better corn? Nebraska, Iowa, right, among the players. Talked to a few of them about that earlier this week.
They just had a run play to start this drive. Nebraska did. It's second down and 8. Now, are you weighing in on that, Yogi, or are you staying out of that?
Too early in my Big Ten Network career to have an opinion there.
Well, you could just go with Nebraska. There's Barney. A flag comes in, a first down.
This might be illegal man downfield.
Offensive lineman, you get 3 yards. Oh. Jerry Cervinski.
Pass interference. Offense number 4. The pass was touched beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
15-yard penalty. Excuse me. Distance to the goal. Second down.
It's on Jamal Banks. Wipes out a 12-yard gain.
And these are on the young guys, right? The route from the freshman Barney. You need to get behind the line of scrimmage. He doesn't do that. The reason why is that then you can block down the field. The way this play is designed, guy, is that the receiver Barney's supposed to run that a little over route, but end up behind the line of scrimmage so the receivers or the linemen can get downfield or put their hands on defenders. That's a great lesson learned for the young wideout and Dylan Raiola at quarterback. These are 2 freshmen. They'll run this play many times throughout this season. And look at Matt Rule. He's probably saying a teachable moment again because that was a nice play design.
I think he, maybe he thinks that Barney did get behind the line of scrimmage.
The previous play of the pass being touched beyond the line of scrimmage is under further review.
All right,
so let's take a look.
Again, the rule is, Yogi, you said it perfectly, but just to reiterate, you can block downfield if the ball is caught behind the line of scrimmage. But Barney's running in front.
Yeah, so here's the line of scrimmage right there. You see where that ball is. Okay, now watch. That's the 21-yard line. You see the route. You'll see him kind of banana back. He needs to get under the 21-yard line. See when he catches the ball, bam, freeze it right there. I don't think so. I think it's a really good call by the officials. And, we've watched this guy run this route in practice, right? He did a nice job of make sure he was behind it. But those are the little things. And remember, this team's mantra is chasing 3. Clearly, tonight may not be a 3-point ball game, but those are the things. They got an undefeated Illinois coming in on Friday night.
We're watching 17 here in the 21-yard line. Mike Pereira, our rules analyst in LA. What are you seeing, Mike?
It is so close. Now look, it's a different rule in the NFL because it has to be more than a yard downfield for it to be a foul, but not in college football. So in college football, you just have to be on the line where you touch the ball. And as you said, the ball's at the 21. Not sure there's enough to overturn it because, again, looking at the ball, if it's snapped beyond the 21, then I think it's right on the line and not a foul. So you just have to be beyond the line, and that's very technical, in my opinion, if they call that interference. So if they call that actually beyond the line.
So, Mike, are we looking at Barney's body? Are we looking at the ball? What is it that has to be behind the 21 to make this legal?
The only thing that matters is where he touches the ball. So where that pass first touches somebody is the indicator. So that's the spot right there that they would look at.
Okay.
Millimeters, right? Like millimeters of his hand placement. And even that's a nice teachable moment for a wideout on that play. You got to go back and grab it. Watch his hands as he catches it. Instead of sticking his arms out, he kind of allows the ball to drift on him a little bit. I mean, this is so hard. You see that left hand, and then when does it touch his right hand, and when does he make the catch? To the guru, the master, Mr. Pereira, I think he's right. So close. I don't know if you could overturn it.
And we're looking for clear and obvious.
That's the whole issue. Yeah, when we talk about clear and obvious, and that's the language that they use, when we sit and dispute it, you would think there's not enough to overturn. But it certainly is one that is worth looking at in replay. Just to see that touch right there. Forget the foot, the touch. That's what they have to make the determination of.
At some point, Guy, we're just going to put chips in the ball. So you can track exactly where it is.
Thank you, Mike. Here's the call.
After further review, the pass was first touched behind the line of scrimmage. Therefore, there is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball be placed at the 32-yard line where the runner went out of bounds. First down and 10, Nebraska.
That's an 11-yard overturn.
There you go. The game of inches, game of millimeters right there, won by Nebraska. Good job by the officials.
Do you think Barney will run that route slightly differently next week?
1,000,000%. I think he'll run it differently tomorrow at practice.
So first down for Nebraska. Raiola steps up and There's a completion. Jamal Banks with a defender on his back, a 13-yard pickup. First catch of the night for Banks.
Guy, look at this ball placement. Are you kidding me? Low and away. How about the catch? And then you want to teach yourself a little front shoulder roll. Wow. Way to secure that.
Timeout on the field.
We have a timeout on the field for an injured Northern Iowa player, so we'll step aside here in Lincoln. Experience the expanded Big Ten Conference like never before with Big Ten Plus. Stream thousands of non-televised live events across the Big Ten. Plus, enjoy next-day game replays for every Big Ten game. Subscribe right now at BigTenPlus.com. Robbie Peterson, the injured Northern Iowa player, was able to walk off the field. So we had the stoppage, and so we restart here. First down and 10 for Nebraska. And Dylan Raiola handing it off to Dante Dowdell, who gets upended by Tucker Langenberg, the captain linebacker, after a pickup of 4.
I'd imagine right now, if you're Nebraska, you want to get back to the run game. See 3 tight ends rolling in here on this next snap. See if you can dictate terms on this line of scrimmage. Matt Rule has often said in every one of his stops, the run game, formations like you're seeing now, bunch formations, they're key tent poles in his system.
Here's Dowdell. Gets outside to the sideline. And Dowdell finally goes out inside the 15.
How about this? Look at these guys right here. They are just going to block down. And away he goes around the right side of that offensive line. Wow, just amazing physicality. And that's that formation, that bunch formation that Matt Rule talked to us about as just being a foundational element of his program.
38 yards from Dowdell. There goes Barney in motion, inside handoff, and that gets blown up. Janiron Bonner, and let's go down to Rhett.
Yeah, guys, I mean, when you talked about some of the foundational stuff that goes into a Matt Rule program, you talked about that bunch set. Well, getting a lead and then running the ball and running the clock is what he wants to do. I'd say early on here, guys, in the third quarter, check on that one.
Yeah, Rhett, you nailed that one. Look, he talks about 3 stages of playing: eliminating, losing football, winning football, and championship football. And a huge part of that is owning the line of scrimmage.
Second down. He throws. End zone. Banks! And it hits the defender square in the back. Keith Moko. And it's now 3rd and 10.
Great route on the outside to Banks. Just the ball underthrown. A lot of times as a receiver, when it's an underthrown fade ball, go ball, you want to put that left foot in the ground. If you're on that right or that left sideline guy, you want to jump back into the defender. If so, would have got a PI there, but it's so hard with your momentum at times to be able to do that in midair.
Raiola over the middle, and a miscommunication between he and Banks, and now it's 4th down.
Yeah, it looked like Banks was supposed to cross the face of the safety right in front of him. He decides to take it up and nod that safety. Nothing doing there. And I'll tell you what, Nebraska's lucky that wasn't a turnover.
First field goal attempt here for Tristan Alvano. It's been a big focus this week. The special teams operation's been good so far in extra points. Aiden Flagey, the snapper. Brian Buscini, the hold. And Alvano from 31. Missed last week from 32, but he puts that right through. So this has been clean today. Maybe Nebraska's right at this part of the operation, the kicking game.
Timeout on the field.
Let's take a look at tonight's trivia question brought to you by T-Mobile. Who holds the Cornhuskers' all-time record for most carries in a game?
You gotta take a guess with Mike Rozier, I think, is where I'm gonna go, and maybe go way back to Roger Craig back in the day. What do you think? Somewhere in the middle, or those two?
I'm going to go Eric Crouch.
You go, yeah.
I tried to
awesome, by the way.
I tried to bribe Christian and Graphics for the answer.
And you got it?
No.
Oh.
No, he wouldn't tell me.
He was such a fun, dynamic player to watch play. Oh my gosh.
Jacob Holt kicks that away, and it's muffed. Northern Iowa goes back to recover it at the 4-yard line. Sergio Morency trying to make a play, and it nearly cost him a possession.
And just the timing's not right. You want to get there a hair earlier, catch it on the fly, but I'll tell you what, give him credit for bouncing back to pop up real quick to cover that, because that could have been catastrophic for UNI. And here we go, right in front of those students.
Aiden Dunn, the quarterback. This is as loud as it's been in here tonight. He hands it off, short gain. All right, let's get the answer to the question. Trivia. Oh, no. Is the guy in the building and we didn't get it? Rex Burkhead, 38 carries against Iowa, November 25th, 2011.
I mean, that was the obvious answer. We were better than that.
I know.
Yep.
Rex went into the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame today with an impressive class. And we got a big cheer from the 86,000 plus who are making a lot of noise right now on 2nd and 7. Dunn steps up and he throws behind. They are ruling this incomplete. He was looking for Lane Pryor. This is earlier tonight. Rex Burkhead and his family honored here. And what a cool moment for him, right? I mean, this is a guy, he goes on and has a great career. First team all Big Ten in Nebraska's first year in this league, a decade in the NFL, won a Super Bowl. And this tonight has to be high on his list, right?
I got to imagine he's going to still be on his feet for this 3rd down, because I don't think there's a person in this stadium sitting down.
And now whistles.
The previous play was an incomplete pass. That play is under further review.
All right, did Lane Pryor catch the football? Lane Pryor, one of the captains on this Northern Iowa team from a small farming town of 1,200, Woodbine, Iowa. And you know he wants this one.
See if that hand gets underneath. No, I think it hits the ground there. Got a shot to scoop it up, and then I think it rolls and hits the turf. That's a beautiful shot by our crew.
It's allowed to touch the ground, but he needs to have firm control of the ball when it does.
Yeah, with one hand, I don't see that. You?
I don't, and also, you know, incomplete on the field. This is the one. I mean, the question, does he bounce it up to himself here? But even if he does, I don't think he has control before that ball gets squeezed against the turf. We had so much fun talking to him, though, this week. And
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Incomplete pass, 3rd down.
Lane Pryor, he said his graduating class is 32 people, and 1/3 of them are coming to the game tonight. 10 friends, a bunch of family, grew up an Iowa fan. And he said, I hope we live up to the moment. You know, this score right now is 24-3, and they got a big 3rd and 7. But I'd say they've lived up to the emotional part of this moment tonight.
Yeah, they have not let this environment swallow them, but this is as hard as it gets. 3rd down, backed up, this entire fan base trying to get inside your helmet.
Every voice pointed at Aiden Dunn from his end zone. Across his body, and it's caught. Whoa. Gifford was sniffing a pick 6, and instead it's a Desmond Hudson 1st down.
How about this? Pressure from Robinson. He tries to spin out, put a little more pressure on him. This was similar to the interception earlier. Not this time. Almost a pick six to your point. Gifford tries to make the play, but the wideout makes an even better one. How about that grab?
On 3rd and 7 with 86,000 raining down on them. Dunn in trouble. Gets away from Bullock and loses when it's all said and done 1 yard.
You know, we started off this broadcast talking about this Nebraska defense, right? It's 3-3-5. 3 D linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 guys in the back end in the secondary. And right now, as you're looking at Mekhi Bayer back in the ball game, remember he set up the first half to a targeting penalty a week ago against Colorado. They've changed it up. So you see 3 D linemen right now. Do they bring one of these linebackers up, or do they blitz one of them, trying to force the hand of Aiden Dunn?
They bring 4. Dunn throws, and it's deflected. And it's Bullock that got a hand on it.
So that's the point of the defense, right? There's 3 D linemen. You got 3 linebackers. You don't know who's coming, who's dropping. Beautiful job by John Bullock disguising his role within this defense. They almost get another one. Looked like he's going to make a play on some pressure. Nope. Drives right into that area where Aiden Dunn tries to throw a slant, gets one hand on it. Big play by the senior leader.
Bullock was asked if the crowd affected the game last week. He said, yeah, my brain was buzzing. Play clock is low, they get it off. Dunn throws, and it's caught for a pickup of 5 yards. No, incomplete. Unable to squeeze it was Sergio Morency. And now flags come flying in.
I don't know if somebody said something to the official, but that one came late.
Well, you could see there Mark Farley talking to Morency, who maybe showed a little too much frustration afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great call. Nice little pick route, rub route, you call it an offense.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 21. That is his first of the ball game. The penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal line. 4th down.
Yeah, the ball's a little low. He's frustrated. Looks like he might even be a little banged up. And then a little words with Tommy Hill. Oh, and he throws the ball at him. And that's where they get him.
So, a tough spot for Noah Pettinger to punt. Nebraska loves to try and block, and Pettinger gets this one away and sails it out of bounds. And a flag is down out near the line of scrimmage.
Full start. Offense. Not 11 players were set for 1 second. Half the distance to the goal line. Still 4th down.
For a team that prides itself on blocking punts, you definitely make them re-punt, right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal is, can they be even more exhausted? Can you create even more noise? And can you get a block? And Matt Rule's teams, there's one thing they've done everywhere. They've gotten their hands on the ball in special teams.
Pettinger gets this one away. And this will gain yardage as it doesn't even get to midfield. It goes out, ooh, at about the 36-yard line. Rhett?
Well, we talk about bulletin board material at times, and this is what Matt Rule referenced after the game a week ago. I don't know how well we would play in that atmosphere. We were the visiting team, and I think the whole nation saw how challenging it is to play here in front of this fan base, this community, and this crowd, and it is going to be a big advantage for them for the rest of this season when they get a home game.
Raiola. Pressure gets picked up, so he steps up and lofts it. And there's some pushing and shoving, and a flag comes in. He was looking for Janiron Bonner battling with J.J. Derville.
And again, all those DBs.
Pass interference. Defense number 3. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. includes an automatic.
You just
First
got
down.
to look back late. D'Urville, you see him looking at the eyes of the wideout, never turns his head to the ball. Wasn't a beautifully thrown ball, wasn't necessarily in the vicinity of the receiver, but enough contact there to easily throw the flag for PI.
Harburg's in the game, the backup quarterback, and he makes the catch. Heinrich Haarberg, we saw him for a couple snaps early. And all his teammates are fired up about that. 8 yards.
How about that? Little angle route. That's fun for all those that love the West Coast offense. They call that the Hawk special right there. That was beautiful from the QB. Turned a little bit everything.
And he's now get the handoff. And he's got a first down. And this crowd loves it.
I mean, imagine now trying to prepare. You're Illinois, you're coming off a nice win today. You got to come here on a Friday, and you're saying, oh, geez, we got this package with number 10 now, catching it out of the backfield. He's running the ball, thinks he's going to the sideline. No, we got another play for you. And what was fun talking to Matt Satterfield, their offensive coordinator, he said, it's not a package. He's just part of our game plan.
Now Raiola's at the bottom of the screen, and this crowd is starting to make more noise in anticipation of whatever they're about to see. It's Haarberg keeping it, and behind a lead block of Gabe Irvin, he gets a short gain. And now Raiola's going to go back and set up the offense.
Little things like that. You know, number one, Haarberg is talented enough to be playing on the field in some element of this offense, guy. But also, when you have some plays for yourself, it just keeps you dialed in, especially when you're in the quarterback room and you were the guy a year ago. Love how they found a few plays for the backup quarterback.
Listening, one thing Matt Rule told us, buy-in has not been a problem here. Northern Iowa's going to take a timeout. He said, you know, there were times at Temple and Baylor I played younger guys. Here,
Northern Iowa.
I haven't struggled at all to get buy-in.
30-second timeout.
And, Heinrich Haarberg is the poster boy for that tonight, back in 30. Nebraska leading Northern Iowa 24-3 here with just over 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. You haven't been able to get an open seat since 1962. That's how many years you go back on 399 sellouts. Rhett?
Heinrich Haarberg, certainly a guy that buys in. I mean, he was the man here last year, a quarterback until he wasn't. Matt Rule made that a big piece of his pitch to these guys. Wants them to handle the ups and downs.
This is Fedoni. Stiff arms one man, and he's going to be just shy of the end zone. Ben Belkin came up to deny him. But what do you think there about what Rhett said and what kind of Haarberg represents?
Well, I think he represents an element of this team. You see these receivers just blocking downfield, the big point of emphasis. But yeah, I think for Haarberg, the bottom line with this program is that if you earn the right to play, you're going to play. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, freshman, sixth year, senior. Now look at the I formation.
Barrett Liebentritt, the fullback in front of Dowdell. Play action. Raiola slips and falls. He thought he had 6.
Nice job by Ben Belkin, the inside backer, returning starter, just turning that thing back inside because it felt like it was going to be a walk. They ran power. They pulled the backside guard. It's I formation. You're thinking this is like Rex Burkhead era, right? This is Roger Craig era. And Raiola tried to make something there and slips, but a nice job there by the defense in Northern Iowa. Big stop.
21 yards for Tristan Alvano. And he's got it. 27-3. And we're back in 30. Next Saturday, ton of football here on the Big Ten Network. Charlotte, Indiana, and Villanova, Maryland for that noon Eastern game. And then Kent State takes on 8th-ranked Penn State at 3:30 Eastern here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. So Nebraska got that ball after a punt at the 33-yard line, Yogi, and Northern Iowa held them to a field goal. So Jacob Hull will kick it away here near the end of this third quarter. Morency, who muffed the last return with a clean catch here. And he gets it out to about the 23-yard line.
When we talked to the staff at Northern Iowa, they knew one of the keys of the game was surviving the first quarter. Okay, check. But they also had to push the ball downfield. They had to test these DBs. And now, coming up to the end of the third, if Northern Iowa is going to get back into this game, and it's not out of hand by any stretch, I think they got to take some shots, guy. They've got to create an explosive play or two over the last 15 minutes and 38 seconds of this ball game.
Dunn is going to carry it. He's done this with some effectiveness today, and that's a pickup of 5. You know, that they're in the position, Yogi, as you're describing. This is a team that wants to milk the clock. That's how this offense was built, right? And now they're going to have to, under normal circumstances, they can't let this third quarter run out, right? But they take as much time as they could. Well, they can't let this third quarter run out. The yellow number, that's the play clock. Fourth quarter coming up. If the football wasn't enough of a reason to come to Memorial Stadium, the light show to start the fourth quarter is.
I mean, Guy, we've seen a lot of college football in our time together, man. We've never called a game here, and like it says on the big screen, no place like Nebraska. I'm going to have to co-sign after this light show, man. This is awesome.
There's a great article today leading up to the game about how Matt Rule went to the in-game entertainment folks last year and said, hey, look, you guys can affect the game. Let's get some music here that'll get the players, let's get some high beats per second. Let's get the crowd going.
Well, what was so amazing about that, to your point, like I'm watching the players during the light show, and they're enjoying it. It's not like they're huddled up with their position groups. I'd imagine Matt Rule is saying, enjoy every moment, and now go play this 3-3-5 defense under Tony White.
Number 400 will be Friday night in what should be a top 25 matchup with Illinois. Work still to do here as we begin the fourth quarter, and Ty Edwards carries just shy of first down. It'll be third and less than a yard after a 5-yard pickup. Dunn on the move, throws to Edwards, flag comes down. Edwards picks up the first down, but we'll check on this penalty.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block. Offense number 45. Half the distance to the goal line. Third down.
There is Tony White. He's got all the makings of a top 10 defense. 2 times Broyles Award nominee and a head coach somewhere sooner rather than later.
No doubt. I mean, he's got all the tools in terms of how he teaches the game, everywhere he's gone, how they have played the game, and really how he communicates the game to his players. I mean, this is a defense that's really a challenge for offenses to stop. And the wrinkles he's added along the way, including recently here at Nebraska, make it a real challenge to go up against, as you see now in this 3-3-5 scheme. 4 players on the line of scrimmage and maybe a backer coming.
And noise pouring down. Dunn drops it off to Pesic Hickson. And Pesek Hickson is going to make this about 4th and 8.
That's a really nice job from Tony White and his defense. Right, the crowd's into it. A lot of times you see pressure come, and he says, nope, we're going to bring 4. See if we can get home, get to the quarterback, influence him with the front 4 rushers, and then play coverage behind it with the rest of that defense, keeping everything in front. And he's a defensive coordinator that he seems to have an answer for whatever an offense is doing and will adjust week to week.
A good bounce there from Noah Pettinger, and it rolls out of bounds at the 15.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, receiving team number 18. 15-yard penalty includes an automatic first down.
So roughing is a first down here. Let's see. You know, running into is obviously the lesser of the two, and that involves running into the leg that's in the air. You hit the plant leg or any significant part of the body, and that's when you get roughing.
Yeah. Official had a clear view of it. Talking to Coach Rule right now. And I'll tell you, that's a big play and a big swing, and giving Northern Iowa some life here. Frustration from Coach Rule.
So first down instead of the punt, Nebraska taking over. It's a swing pass out to Desmond Hudson, and that's going backwards, -2. Let's go down to Rhett. Rhett?
Yeah, guys, you're talking about Tony White's 3-3-5 defense here. Sometimes it's kind of like, where's Waldo, right? Where's that 4th rusher coming from? What's that coverage actually look like? But opposing offenses aren't the only ones that are uncertain. Yogi and I are watching the tape, but sometimes we'll check Pro Football Focus to see what they say about it. Yeah. Last week against CU, guys, 100% of the coverage reps from this Tony White defense were classified as unknown.
When you told Tony White that in the meeting, it was the best thing he'd heard all week. He was so happy. Here's Dunn on 2nd down. McGahee in pursuit, and Dunn will just throw it away. And so explain that, Red.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want anybody to be able to categorize.
Exactly right. He was like, all right, we have succeeded. We have fooled the analytics-based community as well. And you know what? His quarterback here, Dylan Raiola, can back that up. Remember what Dylan said about facing this defense in spring? He said it felt like he was in a Star Wars movie.
It's so true, and I think the dynamic athletes they have, especially at that rover safety position. In now is 32 Ramir Stewart playing the slot tight end in Lane Pryor.
3rd down and 12. And they try to set it up here for J.C. Roque, and Roque got the edge, and then he stumbles and falls down, but he did get the first down. There was a lot more on the table there if he could have kept his feet.
Yeah, just a nice job of just setting up that kind of inside tunnel screen. Usually that's supposed to go up the hash. He decides to cross all the way across the field, and that a chance for 6, and just gets caught there by his own feet. Trips and falls. Sometimes you get a little too excited on your way to the end zone. But, Red, I think what's so challenging is to play quarterback against this. What have you seen from field level throughout the night as you've seen a variety of defensive structures and looks and pressures coming from Tony White?
Yeah, I'll update you here right after this play, guys.
Dunn throws behind.
Yeah, and look, I think the thing that Joel Filani, the de facto offensive coordinator from Northern Iowa, was trying to do was clean some of this Tony White defensive looks up for his quarterback, right? Get him in some formations that can give him some tells, get the ball out of his hand, and you know that they wanted to get the ball to Roque, who Filani called the jitterbug, right? He's kind of different than the rest of their receiving core. He can make plays with the ball in his hands. I imagine they kind of start to go back to him here as this drive progresses.
So 2nd down and 10. This is Edwards, and he gets tripped up for no gain. Let's check in with Ashley Adamson with a Big Ten Network studio update. Ashley?
It's Maryland, Virginia, and Charlottesville. Terps down 6 in the 3rd quarter. How about this pass from Billy Edwards to Caden Prather? The perfect placement. Maryland up 1 early in the 3rd, Guy.
right, good one there. Nebraska trying to keep Northern Iowa to 3. It's a 3rd down and 10 here in Lincoln. Pressure done. It's fluttering and it's incomplete. Princewell Uman Mielen came in and lowered the boom.
I mean, he came off the edge. Full speed, full steam. His entire 6'5" frame, number 18, right in the middle there, runs right through the back and almost runs right through the quarterback, Aiden Dunn. Remember, every play is reviewed. If you're watching, saying, hey, where was potential targeting on that play? You can see at home, might be thinking that.
The punt from Pettinger to Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. Fair caught at the 11. Coming up on Tuesday, don't miss women's soccer when the Huskers challenge 5th-ranked Michigan State. Live coverage at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by the new DQ Fall Blizzard Treat Menu. Happy, tastes good. And by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense. You are riding a drone through the gorgeous new Osborne Legacy Complex, 315,000 square feet, $165 million, unveiled on September 4th. We went through this thing. It's even better in person.
Oh, man. It's about a 6-minute video online. Go find it, okay? Just find it, and you'll say, wow, this is as good as it gets in America.
Dylan Raiola, deep shot. It is Lloyd, and it is intercepted. The first turnover for Raiola this year. Fletcher Marshall wrestled all the way down with Jalen Lloyd, and he held on. The officials ruled this an interception on the field.
The ruling on the field is an interception by Northern Iowa. 1st down and 10.
Wow.
Well, they take a shot on a deep post to their fastest, one of the most explosive players they have. And Lloyd looks like he had it, and then at the end, Marshall just rips it away from him. Oh, watch, you're right. It looks like Lloyd, he doesn't high point the ball. He lets it get to his body. Looks like he has it, and then it's just ripped away.
First interception for Raiola this season. And the first turnover today for Nebraska, just their 2nd of the year.
Yeah, they're going to take a look at this one.
Matt Rule asking for an explanation from Jerry Cervinski.
And Lloyd can get up. I mean, this is a guy who is really gifted in track and the long jump, triple jump. Watch him leap here. Hands don't get extended. Catches it, brings it to his body.
Simultaneous.
That's the way it looks like to me.
His receiver.
Yep.
I don't know, Yogi.
I don't know if he has
the
it for
ruling
a
on the field
move.
is an interception by Northern Iowa. The Nebraska head coach is challenging that ruling on the field. Timeout, Nebraska.
All right, so you get a challenge. If you get it right, you get to keep it. If you don't, you lose a timeout. So Matt Rule is electing to challenge this play. And Mike Pereira, our rules analyst in LA, has been watching. Mike, what do you think?
I'm almost as confused as you guys are on this. These are, I really haven't seen a true simultaneous catch. You have to look at number one possession, and then in order to have a simultaneous catch in college, you have to come down on the ground at the same time when you're looking at feet. So to me, I just don't know how this could be reversed because it almost appears to me that the control is by the defense. And the other element of this, of course, is this was a challenge. This was not a review, yet it is ruled a change of
After further
possession.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Nebraska is charged with a timeout and their challenge of the ball game.
Interesting. So, Mike, do we still have Mike? You know, he pointed out that it was a change of possession.
And I think the big point to me is that, like, the receiver doesn't come down to the ground with the ball, right? They don't come down at the same time. If they do, and he's got the ball, okay, I see the argument for Nebraska.
Okay.
So I like the call where they went.
Yeah, the other part of it, we'll talk about it right after this. Since it was a change of possession, really it was already reviewed by replay. So they had already looked at it and already confirmed that it was an interception. So the fact that there was a challenge, it was kind of an useless challenge because they had already made the decision.
Well, that's a great point. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the expertise. So I'm with you. Like, you know, there's not much to debate here, but given all of that, once Mike weighs in, I think it's probably ends the argument.
Close case. Yeah, there you go.
So 2nd down and 5 after the Pesek-Hickson 5-yard carry. Done, and that is broken up. And then a big hit delivered and a flag comes in, and we may be going back to the review.
Yeah, this is tough because the ball is tipped, right?
Lane Pryor was the man down. Sorry, Yogi, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's going to be on the hit, right? I'd imagine we're looking at that here unless they saw some sort of hold. He runs a simple seam route. It's undercut by the defender, and there's a safety over the top.
You can see there's 2 players down on the field. The flag is
Personal foul, targeting defense number 29. That play is under further review.
So Mario Buford delivered the hit that's being reviewed. Now you can see on the left of your screen, Aiden Dunn is being helped off, and it's good to see Lane Pryor walking off as well. We'll be right back. Well, we just had the official announcement. The ruling on this play after review is not targeting on Mario Buford. Let's bring in Mike Pereira. Do you agree with that, Mike?
I actually do, and because of one of the indicators is attacking, to me, his feet are set. He's absorbing a lot of that contact, even though the shoulder is into the head area. But to me, it's not the attacking that you have to have as one of the indicators. So I agree with taking it off.
All right, thank you, Mike. And meanwhile, the 2 players were injured on that play. Lane Pryor walked off. Aiden Dunn, the starting quarterback, needed help to be carried off the field. So Matthew Schackelman, the backup quarterback, their number 3, he just made his 2nd career appearance on that play, Yogi.
Yeah, a lot went on in that previous play. I'd agree with Mike on that. No attacking as the indicator, and the ball's tipped is such a challenge when you're a DB. And then to see Dunn get carried off was really nothing positive for this team.
Nope. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, he's played a really tough game today. Coming up on Wednesday, perennial powers square off when Nebraska hosts Stanford in a marquee top 5 showdown. Women's volleyball Wednesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. That is a massive matchup. The last 9 years, Nebraska and/or Stanford have been in the national title game 8 times. And we went last night to the Devaney Center, Yogi, and you had yourself a heck of a time.
That was a great time. That vibe, that energy. Not as many people, but the similar vibe as we're seeing here in Memorial Stadium.
It was awesome. They had 90,000 plus here last year in this building. Heinrich Harburg is coming to the game at quarterback for Dylan Raiola. Harburg has played, I don't know what position you defined that Harburg played earlier, but now he's in at quarterback. He was playing a little everything earlier.
He's such a dynamic athlete, and I loved when we talked to Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, about him. We asked him, hey, do you have a package with Dylan? Raiola goes, no, we don't have a package. Because sometimes when you have a package, you don't get to it in a game. Because he's just part of the offense. And we want to utilize his athleticism as a quarterback. Of course, here we are as the backup. We've seen him at running back. We've seen him at tight end. We've seen him line up at wide receiver. I mean, that is going to force Illinois and every defense that now has to face this offense to prepare all season long.
Harburg started 8 games last year. There's Emmett Johnson. He's going to make it 3rd down and manageable. Rhett?
I've seen the end of Dylan Raiola for this evening. And look, I think interception notwithstanding here, he's had a fantastic night. So I was talking to his dad, Dominic Raiola, earlier this week. I was like, did you know, like, when did you know Dylan was going to be great, was going to be capable of what we're seeing right now? And I'll give you that answer right after this play here at Harburg.
3rd down and 4. I'm looking forward to this answer. When did he know? Harburg. And he throws complete, and that's a 1st down for Carter Nelson. All right, the answer to the trivia question: when did Dominic Raiola know his son was going to be this good?
Did we get the suspense enough for you there? Okay, yeah. So it wasn't on the field at any point. It was when he was a year old, and he was sitting next to his dad, and he wanted to watch 7 innings of Justin Verlander pitch for the Detroit Tigers in the playoffs. It was when he was 2 years old, and they took him to a Stanley Cup playoff game with the Detroit Red Wings, and he would not leave his seat. And as a 2-year-old, not even to go to the bathroom, you can imagine what that was like. But look, this is a kid that chose not to watch Disney with respect to Mickey Mouse. He always wanted sports.
Wow.
You know what I loved about him, and in your conversation with his dad as he talked about his family, is that he's got a growing family, right? There's siblings, his sister, his brother, his mom, his dad, of course, from back in the day. But in advance of this game, he also leaned on his quarterback family, right? He's talked to guys last week before Colorado. Talked to Caleb Williams because he played Colorado. Talked to C.J. Stroud because he played against the Bengals, where CU's defensive coordinator came from. He calls Calvin Johnson Uncle Calvin. Like, he's just got a lot of people in that Rolodex that he's calling to say, how do I prepare for mastery around this craft?
He's been around some great ones, right? Contemporaries. You think about the class of really good quarterbacks that he's been a part of growing up, Yogi, and you've been a part of it. You're part of Elite 11, right? You've been a part of it for a long time.
And he was part of the class in 2023. And what's amazing, you look to see him at the very top right of your screen in the back row. Right in front of him, that's Julian Sayin, who is, of course, is at Ohio State. There's so many talented players that have come through the Elite. Even Danny Kalin, who is in the front row, far left, who is currently in the quarterback room right now in the same class as Dylan Raiola. And it's really fun, guy, to get around those players like him at that age. You get to tap into them. You get to learn about them before becoming the star that he is right now. So we'll be back last 5:43 here in the ballgame.
Matt Rule made a big adjustment after last week's game against Colorado. He told his staff, I need noise-canceling headphones. I could hear nothing last week. So on Thursday, that new headset arrived. He said it's just like when you get on an airplane and you put the noise-canceling headphones on and everything goes away. Tony White said he tried them this week. He's like, I can't use that. I'm too blocked out. But you know, that'll come in very handy here next week when Illinois comes to town for the Big Ten opener on Friday night on Fox. Here's Harburg with a completion and a 1st down to Emmett Johnson out in the northern Iowa territory. And look, next week, this is year 2. We know what happens in year 2 under Matt Rule. It's time to take a jump. Big Ten play begins. This is what he's preparing his team for. It was such a cool moment to sit and talk with him on Friday. And he said, you know, back when I was at Temple, his son Bryant was born premature, and he spent a lot of time in the hospital. Did 16 days with his son and his wife Julie, and he didn't know if they were going to how they were going to do. It was very touch and go. He said, so I read a book, and that book is Win Forever by Pete Carroll, and it changed my life. And he didn't realize when he said it that he was sitting across the table from you, Yogi Roth, who co-wrote that book with Pete Carroll. I know it's not about you, Yogi, but that had to feel pretty crazy.
That was, I think, a moment in all the production meetings we're in where I'm always going to remember that.
Here's Johnson again. Johnson bounces it outside. Johnson turns on the speed. Touchdown, Nebraska. 36 yards. An example of a guy who earned more playing time last week, making the most of it tonight.
And that's the biggest difference between year 2 at Temple and at Baylor and year 2 here at Nebraska. They've got competitive depth where guys know they have to earn their PT. Emmett Johnson earned that this week in practice, found his way into the end zone.
And the point after is good.
I'll tell you what, you referenced Pete Carroll in that era. It was all about competition, competitive moments, earning your time on the field. Emmett Johnson, he's had a lot of elite competitive moments. I think you're going to remember this one as this crowd is back on their feet.
So Emmett Johnson with the big touchdown run. 8 plays, 80 yards, 433. That's one of the longer drives in time today for Nebraska. 36 yards to cap it off. And, you know, we were talking, let's go back, not to talking about you, Yogi, but why that book by Pete Carroll and why Pete Carroll means so much to Matt Rule. Matt was a young, just starting out coach when he waited in line 15 minutes just to meet Pete Carroll after he spoke at a coaching convention. What is it that Pete Carroll did at USC, right? We talk about the great years of the Trojans. And then to the NFL, where he's a championship coach with the Seattle Seahawks. And now Matt Rule, right? What is he trying to apply from Pete Carroll? You coached with Pete Carroll at USC.
Yeah, look, I think the number one thing is that when you were coaching with Pete and now being around this facility for the last few days, is that everything you do, you have to be in a relentless pursuit of a competitive edge. I mean, the first page of that book goes something like this. I slammed the book shut, stunned. And that's when Pete Carroll realized that John Wooden didn't win all the time early in his career. It's when he figured out his philosophy, his uncompromising principles, and then he basically never lost again. Pete Carroll wrote the book when he was fired. When he was fired for the second time, didn't know if he'd get a head coaching job ever again, got it, and then just went to work and made it all about them, all about the players, and all about competing every day. So much so for Matt Rule, as we see this snap here take place incomplete, so much for Matt Rule that he turned to a member of his staff and he said, what do we do every single day to start practice on Tuesdays? And he goes, yeah, you have team compete. And we called Tuesday Competition Tuesday. And what did it do? It allowed your players to go best versus best, ones versus ones, and go compete and make practice more challenging than the game. And that, for Matt Rule, is the goal. The goal that with all these 5th and 6th year seniors and all these young players are getting a bunch of shine on offense, to make sure you go back to work, go back to home base, so you can go win all those tight games.
This is Sheckelman, the backup quarterback who's come in for the injured starter, Aiden Dunn. And that is a first down.
And you know what was cool about that is, of course, after the meeting, I had to call Coach Carroll. And I was like, I got to tell you this, man. And he was fired up because, of course, he's out now of coaching and, you know, he's watching his sons both coach in the NFL and in college and being around his family. But he loves hearing when the influence that he has had throughout the entirety of his incredible career, I think a Hall of Fame career in college and the NFL, is impacting the game still. And it was really cool for Matt Rule to, I think, you know, share that moment with us. And I hope those two guys end up connecting, because I think Matt Rule is building something really special here, much like they did at USC.
Sheckelman with a scramble. That'll bring up second down and short. Coming up after the game, the Big Ten Live football postgame sponsored by State Farm breaks down all the action. That's coming up after we're done here.
You know what was cool? When we were at SC, you had these little elements within the program that you made feel really special within the facility. Matt Rule has done that everywhere he's been around the single digits. And I just think it's been fascinating to watch the players vote on who gets to rock a single digit. Not, hey, I'm a big recruit, give me a single digit in recruiting.
Sheckelman throws complete. Second catch for Derek Anderson. So you've got the black shirts. That's the old tried and true Nebraska tradition. And you've got the single digits that means so much in a Matt Rule program, Brett.
Temple, right? Temple Tough was the moniker there, right? And so, you know, Matt Rule really treats that toughness, those single-digit guys, as his own position group. Like, they've got their own group text. He takes that stuff very seriously.
It's pretty great. He said his wife Julie hosts a different position group every Thursday for dinner, except for this last Thursday because it was her birthday. So happy birthday, yeah. Julie. And the single-digit guys, they come as their own position group to dinner.
Yeah, Rhett nailed it in terms of the text thread that he's on. I mean, this is truly the leadership group among this team, and I love how he even added Ben Scott, the veteran center, to it. He might not be a single digit as the center on the offensive line, but critical to have him feel as though he's part of that leadership group, and I just think that's something to aspire to when you're one of these younger players. 6 right there, but I'm sure that young running back is saying, hey, I'm a single digit one day, too. We'll be right back.
Ashley Adamson here in our Big Ten Network studios, reminding you to stick around after the game. We'll have full post-game highlights and reaction, and immediately following that, we'll head to Final Drive, recapping all of the big stories coming out of Week 3, including a quarterback situation in Ann Arbor, another defensive shutout in Minneapolis, and 2 Pacific Northwest rivalry games that went in very different directions. We'll have all that for you coming up, but for now, enjoy the rest of your game. We'll see you afterwards.
The Final Drive recaps the entire day around the conference tonight at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Well, the hope is that that youngster there will only know winning, will not remember 7 straight losing seasons without a bowl. It's amazing to think that that's the recent history. Of course, sellouts through it all as we're under 2 minutes now remaining, Yogi.
I mean, doesn't this feel like, I mean, you see Glenn Thomas, the quarterback's coach, who spent time with the Steelers the last couple years, next to Dylan Raiola there. There's the number of consecutive sellouts. Like, it just feels like if you put a blueprint of what do you need to win? Facilities, check. History, check. Support, check. Leadership, check. Veteran leadership on the field, check. And a quarterback who can deal. Like, it just feels like this is about to be a juggernaut. Now, they had some holes tonight. They weren't perfect, guys, but God, it feels like Nebraska is just getting going, man.
3rd down here for Northern Iowa. Illinois won decisively today over Central Michigan. Shekelman throws, and it's broken up by Jeremiah Charles, the true freshman, getting an opportunity here late in the game. Illinois was the top team receiving votes that was not in the top 25 last year. As you look at another nice play here from Charles, and Dylan Raiola locked in here with a fellow member of his freshman class. So we're looking at it in all likelihood on the 400th sellout in order consecutively. Friday night, top 25 matchup. Look, you don't want to get ahead of anything here, right? As you take a look at Dylan and Donovan, his uncle, and the offensive line coach on 4th down and 5. Northern Iowa converts.
So the biggest question is, how are they going to do next week? To me, the sign of a veteran team, as we see a flag down on the field, is can you handle the emotions of a season?
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 14. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Correction, half the distance to the goal line. 1st down and 10.
Less than a week till Illinois comes here, Rhett.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, I think the coaching staff and this team kind of excited at Northern Iowa coming in this week because they provided some functional prep for Illinois next week, because these big backs for Northern Iowa, this physical front, kind of represents what they'll see next week with Illinois. They got a true sophomore running back, Caden Fagan, who stands 6'3", 250 pounds. He's got a couple of touchdowns already this season.
There you see the schedule coming up. Illinois, which of course represents 4 straight home games to start the year. After Illinois, there's only 3 home games remaining that are scheduled. Remember,
it's hard not to imagine.
First round of the playoff is at home sites.
Yeah, look, we all love jumping it a little bit and, you know, trying to anticipate who's going to be in the playoff. But I think when you look at their schedule and the style of play through the first few weeks of the season, there's a reality that Nebraska's only going to keep getting better. And I go back to that number of the veterans they have, whether it's on the offensive line or the defensive line, like the core of this team up front, they're going to come to work every day. And I think that is the biggest challenge of navigating and handling everybody telling you how great you are in this town.
Northern Iowa trying to break the seal on the end zone before this game ends, but it won't happen on that play. Coming up to make the stick, Kamir Prescott, another true freshman.
And really to Rhett's point about the opponent next week, I think this team goes right back to work. Tony White, Matt Rule, Coach Satterfield and company, and I think they've got the veteran mindset to do it. Now, did they struggle against the run tonight a little bit at times? Yeah, they weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There's things to work on. But this team, I think they'll come right back to that compete period when they get to practice on Tuesday with full pads and be ready to rock.
You know this defense doesn't want to give up a touchdown.
No way.
Shackelman on the move. And he throws that out of the back of the end zone, and now it's 4th down.
And I think if you're Northern Iowa, you're going for it right here. And I think also if you're Northern Iowa, to give them a little bit of love, like, look, I get it, there aren't moral victories in college football, but we're talking about an FCS opponent playing up against the top 25 team in the nation. They have not shied away from the physicality, from the moment by any stretch. They got to get on a bus after this game, drive home, then fly to Hawaii on Wednesday for a road game.
4th and goal. They hand it off. Morency, he needs to get to the end zone, and he gets pulled down shy. And Nebraska keeps the Panthers out of the end zone tonight. Second impressive play from Mario Buford, who's been flying around.
And this defense did not want to give up any points. Nice job trying to find the corner, but an even better job at the safety position. Just making a play, getting off the block, and the freshman Buford is fired up for his fellow freshmen. They know it's a complete team game. That was a nice stop.
So here's what we got. We've got a Heisman candidate quarterback.
Oh.
I don't know how you debate it at this point. He's been fantastic.
Okay.
You got a top 10 defense. You've got a proven winning head coach. You don't agree with it. You're making a
I just think it's so early on the Heisman thing.
That's fine.
But yeah, he's a special talent. I'll give you that.
You don't have to vote for him, Yogi.
I'm just saying. It's the most complicated position at the most developmental position and a position that gets the most scrutiny. And what I love about Dylan Raiola is that he does a nice job of blocking out a lot of that chatter. And why? Because of the community he has around him, starting in the facility with his head coach, who is hand in hand with his freshman quarterback, his family, of course, constantly being around him, being a support group. And if he can continue to play free, if they can run the football, everything this team dreams about is in front of them this season. And the more they can play here, the better.
Nebraska is 3-0 for the first time since 2016.